kick things off by talking about the hyperscale demand environment. 2022 was a record leasing year for the industry, and from everything I can see right now, it seems like 2023 is on track to break last year's record. Phil, if I could start with you on this one, could you give us a sense for what Aligned is seeing from its hyperscale customers, and as part of that, how the needs of the hyperscalers are evolving relative to what you saw last year?
That's a good question. So I think we've seen the scale. There's been a rolling process we've observed with hyperscalers over the last several years. They would acquire a site, it would take them about 18 months to move in, and then they go through that cycle again. COVID broke that. There was such demand across the board. So we're seeing a much shorter time frame. Also, the hyperscalers were building for themselves and using the likes of us as an ancillary provider. Now that's shifted again because our build process is so much faster and more efficient. So we're seeing tremendous growth. I mean, last year was probably twice the year before. This year will be twice that again. And next year, probably the same. The growth is exponential. And I wouldn't hate to use the words arms race, but there's certainly an eyeball race between all of the hyperscalers determined to double down on the capacity they have in regions that they occupy, but also all of them looking for new regions and basically chasing power. Wherever power is available, they want to build.
I want to build on that theme, and Philip, I'll go to you for this one. You know, one of the things I've heard recently is that there's at least one hyperscaler who's looking to increase their data center footprint by about 7x in the next few years. Does this align with what you're hearing from hyperscale customers? And if so, do you believe it's possible for the industry to support that magnitude of growth?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, as Phil was saying, you know, traditionally we've kind of seen this ebb and flow year over year from buy, absorb, and so forth. And now it's just full absorption, right? And you're definitely seeing the demand from the hyperscalers just unprecedented. Right, and you know, obviously they're trying to self-perform as much as possible, but it's that speed to market, so leveraging third-party data centers like ourselves, and you know, we're going to get into it, but obviously AI adds a whole new kind of demand threshold that I think essentially doubles the already, you know, significant demand that we're seeing from the hyperscalers to build out. On top of it, what AI brings is a whole new market entrance, right? There's lots of new AI folks coming to market, enterprises, sovereign clouds, and AI platforms and so forth that are all exacerbating the demand for data center capacity around the world and driving the need for more power, more capital, more infrastructure, and so forth.
Vinay, I'd say this, we can't be at a data center conference without talking about AI, as has already come up in the conversation. When you compare AI to the evolution of previous technologies, you know, think of the cloud, think of the internet, you know, how does it compare? And along a similar vein, how does it differ in your view?
Yeah, I think as Phil, well, both of Phils were talking about earlier, both sides of me are two Phils. I think if you look at where AI is right now in terms of driving demand, driving, you know, new builds happening, I think the national vacancy rate around the country is under 3% at the moment. And also there are a couple of other macro elements that are happening in the marketplace. So, you know, one is that with the low capacity available, low inventory available in the marketplace, the prices are increasing. And secondly, also what we're noticing is that, you know, providers are able to now talk about 200 to almost 300 kilowatts per rack, right, which is unheard of in terms of sustaining those kind of power densities. And clearly a lot of emphasis on sustainable power as well alongside with it. And so if you look at where cloud was, or, you know, where edge was when it comes in the, you know, new early phases of its infancy as a technology, I think AI has a long road ahead. And as an entire industry, all these paradigm shifts are going to continue to happen.